Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help ambitious private practitioners across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building ninja tips. Visit privatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and our signature marketing e-course. Here are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. We are glad that you are here. We hope that you guys joined us last week as we spoke to Andrea Jones on how to automate social media, but still maintaining a personal touch. Are you thinking like, how do you do that? You'll definitely want to check out that episode. Today, we're talking about another success story. This is April's success story. Where are they now? If you've been listening to the podcast for some time, you know we pipe these in along just to really create sources of inspiration, of hope, letting you know that you can do this and you can have the practice of your dreams. And today we'll be interviewing April Kaisirlian. So before we get started with that, if you're brand new to our podcast, thank you so much for hopping by. We hope that you actually stay a part of our family for a long time. And like any good family, you know, we like to give some gifts. So one of our best gifts that we want to give you is actually your Dream Private Practice Playbook. This was our Dream Private Practice Playbook back in the day, but Kate and I created and really looked at our decades worth of experience in private practice and how we succeeded. And we've helped many therapists, including April, find ways to do the same. So we would like to gift this to you for free. So head on over to privatepracticestartup.com and slide on over to the resources tab. And there you can grab it and whatever else tickles your fancy. A little bit about April. April established her practice in 2015. She is creative, a mindfulness-informed, body-centered psychotherapist, and co-founded the Grand Rapids Center for Mindfulness in 2010. And she's been teaching mindfulness and self-compassion for over 10 years. Little fun fact about April, her alternate business card tagline would be seriously playful psychotherapist. Interestingly enough, I remember when April was in our course, we were always delighted by like the colors and everything that she like brought. Like she just has this
vibrant energy.
Vibrant. There it is, Kate.
Yes.
That's exactly it. So super fun. So we're excited to really catch up with her because we haven't chatted with her in some time, and for her to share, you know, where she is now, what's made her successful. But before we do that, let's just take a quick moment for our sponsor.
Is managing your practice stressing you out? Try Therapy Notes. It makes billing, notes, scheduling, and telehealth a whole lot easier. Check it out, and you will quickly see why it's rated the highest EHR on Trustpilot with over 1,000 verified customer reviews and an average customer rating of 4.9 or 5 stars. You'll notice the difference from the first day you sign up for the trial. They offer live phone support 7 days a week. So when you have questions, you can quickly reach someone who can help. You are never wasting time looking for answers. If you're coming from another EHR, they make the transition really easy. Therapy Notes will import your client's demographic data free of charge during your trial so you can get going right away. Use the promo code PPS to get your first 2 months for free, or try out Therapy Notes for free, no strings attached, including their very reliable telehealth platform. Make 2021 the best year yet with Therapy Notes. As a therapist, how you communicate with your clients online is just as important as how you communicate in your sessions. However, if you use email and web forms to communicate, you need to be sure that they're secure and HIPAA compliant. Hushmail takes the guesswork out of secure communications by providing encrypted email, web forms, and e-signatures all in one package. Hush Secure Forms makes building forms very easy. You can start a form from a template and customize it to reflect your practice, or use the drag and drop form builder to build beautiful forms from scratch with fields for legally binding e-signatures. Then add your form to your website or send it through secure email. Hush Secure Forms also includes a selection of screening forms such as the PHQ-9 and GAD-7 that deliver a score upon completion. Move your intake, informed consent, health history, and other practice forms to a HIPAA-compliant Hush Secure Forms platform. Your clients will spend less time in the waiting room and more time getting the care they need. Go to tryhushmail.com/PPS and enjoy your first month for free.
April, how are you?
I am doing so well. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
We are so excited that you're here. And one special thing that I think about when I think about you is, if I remember correctly, you're a single mom to 3 teenagers, correct?
Yeah.
And building private practice and doing well. Like, oh my gosh, what's life like doing all of that?
It's crazy. I joke that I always have a story to tell, and I don't even need to leave my house for that to happen. So I'm actually afraid to leave my house, given how much drama there is without me leaving my house. So, but my oldest son just shipped off to the Navy, and so I've got my other 2 kids at home, along with my son's girlfriend is living here now too, and so there's a lot of energy in my house, and my kids continue to keep me on my toes. My clients have got nothing on my kids. Nothing.
It's never a dull moment.
No.
Too funny. Very good. So April, where did your journey start, like in becoming a therapist?
So let's see. I went into the field of social work, and I had no intention of becoming a therapist. Didn't really understand. I respected the field, but I didn't understand what people did as a therapist, really, even though I'd been in some therapy. So I went into the nonprofit arena. Long story short, doing nonprofit work full time. I started my own nonprofit, was incredibly stressful. So I shut down my nonprofit, slowed my life way down, found myself home full time with my kids, which was challenging for me. And that's when I picked up the practice of mindfulness and got trained to teach. So co-founded the Grand Rapids Center for Mindfulness, and was about probably 4 to 5 years into teaching mindfulness and self-compassion and doing a lot of presentations around the community, really to realize that even though teaching is my first passion, it wasn't going to pay the bills, not how things were going at that point. So I needed to diversify. And while I had my master's in social work, I then completed an 18-month training program in body-centered psychotherapy through Hushmail. And that program gave me an incredible set of tools for how to approach my own psychotherapy practice in a mindful, body-centered, and very creative way. So with that, I launched my private practice in 2015, and slowly built my practice from there. I'm a fee-based clinician. I don't work with insurance. So it's been a wonderful journey. I feel incredibly privileged to be doing this work. Although honestly, I would say I wasn't sure I'd like being a therapist. But I was willing to give it a year and say, okay, let me see what this is like. I do love being a therapist. I love the stories. I love interacting with my clients, the people I get to serve. And so it's been an incredible gift. And it's been very stabilizing in my own life, to have an unexpected divorce and to have this incredible career that is now a blend of teaching and seeing clients, that I can support myself and feel my own stability. It just kind of blows me out of the water when I think about it. So
very cool. And, as you talk about that, I'm like reminded of my own journey of really embracing the teacher, the coach, the educator in me. And I remember when I fell into couples work and like really loving to teach couples about like the psychoeducation. And I'm like, this is so much more like me. And I remember kind of going through the master's program and having to talk about always being curious and asking questions. But I'm like, but no, like there's a part of me that's a coach and a teacher. And so I'm glad that you feel that you can combine that. And it's just really a perfect place for you.
Yeah, I actually often tell people you get a twofer with me.
Exactly.
You get a therapist, but you also get a teacher. Yeah.
So that's so interesting that you said that you had some reservations about being a therapist and you'd give it a year. And I don't know that I hear many people say that, especially with having to go through grad school and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
What were some of your concerns?
Well, again, I continue to know this about myself. I love to teach. It wouldn't surprise the two of you, I have a somewhat performative side of me. Give me a microphone and stick me on a stage and Don't give me a PowerPoint to do, by the way, but give me a microphone and let me go at it. And I come alive in that space. And so I didn't know how that would translate for me one-on-one. I knew it would be a different skill set, a different set of boundaries with people. As a teacher, I tend to be very open about my own life. I use my own life as a lot of illustration. While some self-disclosure is appropriate as a therapist, I knew that would be different. Also, because I do like to pontificate. I like to talk. And therapy, while it is a dialogue, is more listening. I wasn't sure how that would be for me. I just wasn't sure that I would even know how to help people in that one-on-one setting. So I just, I guess at the end of the day, I wasn't sure if I'd like it. I just wasn't sure. Mm-hmm. I kind of joked that, if I may be frank, I went into therapy for the money and for the stories.
I guess we don't usually hear people say that.
But in all honesty, I was like, I needed to stabilize my income. I have friends who are incredibly successful private practice clinicians, so I knew that could be possible. And I love to tell stories as a teacher, and I thought, well, at the very least, I can glean some good stories here. But the therapeutic part, I really wasn't sure about, and I will say that continues to grow in me. And I do think I'm a solid clinician. Now I have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I love that you share that though. And I know you're embracing it already, but even more because aren't stories therapeutic anyway? And when it's not about ourselves, right? And we can hear ourselves in a different story or whatever, it's an indirect ability to make change because there's no defensiveness, Yeah. I remember I had a client, it was funny because we would be talking about like a topic or something like that. And I'd be like, do you want me to tell you a story? And she's like, yes, please. And then I would just tell her a story. She's like, oh my God, I totally get it. So I love what you're doing. And there's so many clients out there that are just drawn to your style, your vibrance, your stories, your education. So that's really exciting. Let's just take a quick moment for our sponsor. If you're a private practice owner, this is for you. Running a business is just plain hard. Endless to-do list, employees to take care of, and your ever-present bottom line. So first of all, kudos to you for staying on top of it. I want to tell you about Gusto. Gusto built an easier and more affordable way to manage payroll, benefits, and more. They help over 100,000 businesses with tasks like automated payroll tax filing, simple direct deposits, free health insurance administration, 401ks, onboarding tools, you name it, Gusto made it easy. And they really care about the small business owners they work with. Their support team is attentive and helpful. And since money can be tight right now, you'll even get 3 months free once you run your first payroll. Just go to gusto.com/PPS and start setting up your business today. You'll see what I mean when I say easy. Again, there's that 3 months free. Go to gusto.com/PPS. So April, let's kind of dive in, and I'm curious for you. I know that you said you kind of have what you call the 3 S's on how you've been able to be successful in private practice. So share with us and the audience about that.
So my 3 S words are skill, support, and schedule. So the first one, skill. I've been teaching for almost 12 years now as a mindfulness and self-compassion teacher. That is my primary skill set. That is my passion in life. And that is how most of my clients find me. They know April's a mindfulness teacher. She's got something there that I want to learn. I want to deepen into this. And boy, and these struggles I'm having in my life. So for me, it was a little less about the niche of who my clients are or what they bring. People tend to find me because of the niche of my skill. And that's worked out well. I primarily work with women, with adults, but I work with all genders ultimately. And it's often around the incredible, simple, but difficult process of being present in our lives. And I do have a lot to say about that. So I love that people find me for that skill set. And I get to bust a lot of myths about mindfulness and self-compassion. So that brings me great joy. The second S, support. Now this one could make me tear up. I almost can't say enough. I sometimes joke, but it's not a joke. I am probably one of the most well-supported people that I know. My two best friends are clinicians. They've been incredible role models for me, and we're actually in the same practice. We all work independently, but under the same roof. And within this practice of all individual clinicians, there are therapists in my office that have been clinicians for anywhere from 35 to 45 years. That I joined the group because I was like, I can learn a ton from these people. And many of them had traveled together for decades. They're like family, like they have fought through shit and worked. I mean, they've had falling outs and coming back together. And, that's the kind of group I wanted to be a part of. So I have the support of a lot of role modeling. Within that group, I've been able to do individual supervision that I'm currently in, as well as group supervision. I don't have to do that, but I choose to do that to give myself support. That also is supportive to my clients. I sometimes joke that my clients, you have a therapist and you have a grand therapist and a great grand therapist. Like it just keeps going, like the support. I think of it like lineage, right? Because they have a therapist who has a therapist who has a therapist. It's just beautiful to me. So that support for me has been, I can't put a price tag on it, invaluable. I have incredible safety. It's another S to go to my colleagues and to say, I don't know what to do here. And there's the utmost safety to say that, or I've never encountered this before. And in some ways, I'm a new clinician. I'm only 5-6 years into this profession. And so I have a lot to learn. And so that support is incredible for me. And then schedule, a brief story I'll share is being in private practice. I have an incredible amount of freedom, but I've had to embrace that freedom, right? And use it. Put it into practice. Easier said than done. And just recently, I made a change in my schedule. I took out all of my 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. clients, and I don't start my day till 10 a.m. I am dreaming of starting my day at 11 a.m. Because my mornings, I get up and I read for an hour. I write for an hour. I do meditation. I'll throw in some exercise if I feel like it. I actually don't like to exercise, but it's good for you. So whatever, I try. But really it's another S word. I start my days very slow. And that supports the rest of my day. But to be able to give that gift to myself this year, and then to continue to really think like, how can I make this schedule even better for me, has been just incredible. Such a gift. I'm so excited. I'm so much happier to start my days that way. So it was interesting to go through that change with my clients to just say, hey, listen, my mornings are mine now. In fact, I'm going to give me the best part of my day, which is my mornings. So
it seems like it's really in alignment with a lot of what you teach about being present and that self-compassion and really putting yourself first and knowing what your ideal schedule is. And that's something we teach in the e-course as well, just getting really clear on creating that ideal schedule first. And especially when you're a mom of 3 teenagers who are now, getting older and running a business and all of the moving parts without having your tank full first, it just, everything gets so depleted. So now that you've been in private practice for about 5-6 years now at this point, what does life look like now versus when you first started in private practice?
Let's see. Well, my practice is full.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It's a little too full, so I need to keep my eye on that. This has been such a challenging year and a half for everybody. And so people are continuing to seek out support. And so what started out slow again, not working with insurance, it took me a little more time to build my practice. But now at this point where I'm at, my teaching of mindfulness and self-compassion continues to fill my practice. My reputation now as a therapist fills my practice. And then, my colleagues continue to fill my practice. So right now, I have a sense of confidence and ease, that this is, again, a stable, steady place for me to be. And I'm thankful for that. That's where it feels like I'm at now. And I can begin to tweak it, I guess is what I would say, Kate. I can now play with it even more, to make it refine, making this work for me. Because I'm from a family of small business owners. I grew up around that. And I just feel like if I'm going to run my own business, my business has to work for me, at some point, or otherwise, why do this?
That makes me want to shout, amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think I was working on the idea of this when I met the two of you, but I'm continuing to work on developing an emotions course. So I love playing around on social media, both with art and writing and videos. So I'm continuing to play that way too. It's just a fun line to play with as a therapist. Again, like how much do I say, reveal, don't reveal? I recently posted a video about composting emotions, talked a little bit about my son leaving for the Navy, and darn it all, if it isn't every single time I share a story from my own life, that it has the most impact. So I want to lean into that more this coming year. So.
I love that. And it's funny when you were talking about your kids, I'm like, wow, like so much content right there. And the fact that you love to share stories, and Kate and I, we talk about this in the e-course, and it is our firm belief that we should only be doing strategies that are in alignment to ourselves, in business and outsource the rest, depending on what your goals are. And, I just love how even as we're talking, I'm hearing for you even more stepping into story and stepping into sharing and authenticity. And that's who I remember you to be in our course. And even now, as you show up with the vibrant colors that we get to see between your books and your plants and your shirt and all of that, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm excited to see what is next for you. And, if I were your ideal client, I would definitely want to work with you. It would be like fun and exciting. And, you're also role modeling what it is that you talk about and continue. And as we, I think about, I love the poem, whether it's Nelson Mandela or Marianne Williamson, right? Is like, when we give ourselves that permission, we unconsciously give it to others, And so as you've taken back your mornings, it's like, hey, I'm giving this to me. It's funny that you talk about mornings, because my rule is me first, because if you don't put me first, there's no place in your schedule for us. And very much the same way for mornings as well.
Yeah. As you said, what you said just now, Katie, too, I think a hallmark of who I am as a person and as a clinician and teacher, I field test nearly everything. It's not always required. I think we can give tools to people that we haven't directly used ourselves. But my hallmark is I field test this stuff. I've gone through devastating experiences in my life, and I've put my own therapy and therapist to the test. I've put mindfulness and self-compassion to the test. I've put my community to the test. Can these things meet me here? Tools of resiliency. I am my own science experiment. So.
That's beautiful. Cool. Yeah, I know. Anything else that you want to share about how you've been able to be successful of where you are today in private practice?
It might sound a bit cliche, but it's okay that you don't know everything. I jumped into starting my own private practice from a non-traditional starting point. I was a teacher primarily. I've never been in a setting where I feel sheepish admitting this, where I've had to learn how to do really good notes and diagnosing things like that. That's like a hole in my own tool set right now. I didn't have those things, and yet I jumped into private practice, and then I've surrounded myself with people who do know how to do those things, and I ask questions I am so willing to show up and say, I don't know how to do this. Can you show me how to do this? Can you teach me how to do this? So my advice would be, don't let it stop you if you don't have all of the pieces in place. Get started and surround yourself again with that support of people who know how to do what you don't know how to do. To think as a clinician that you can be an island and somehow know all of it. Well, A, it's probably impossible, but B, it's not nearly as much fun. It's a lot more fun to do it with other people. So
it is. It's so funny as you've introduced the 3 S's. I'm like hanging on to all your S words, and I'm like, I know why she doesn't like exercise because that's an E word. I wonder if you did skipping in the morning or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yes.
It's
my
funny.
favorite S word is slow, which is like antithetical to exercise half the time. But I'm like, fine, I'll speed up to give you another S. But but I used to be a highly anxious person. I mean, I still struggle with anxiety, but I was always on high alert, always moving fast. And I the other day I said to myself, I kind of blurted it out, and I was like, I refuse to die in a rush. Not going to do it.
I like that.
Because I've had a really busy week, and I just was like, all right, canceled a few things. Like I'm not going to, if I die today, it's not going to be like me rushing around. I will die slow. So.
Well, April, thank you so much for being here. And I love your story. And I really love how you kind of went through your own private practice journey and kind of a different in fashion, right? Like we really didn't talk about like marketing strategy and stuff like that. And for you, it was like finding those people who were already successful, surrounding yourself with them. But you being a teacher first, it sounds like the mindfulness was like the pipeline. And then I'm sure it was that very indirect, and we always talk about that, right? Like in marketing and sales, even though people don't love that word, but it's this indirect way of getting to know you where it's just the natural next step to want to work with you as a therapist.
Yes.
And it sounds like that's been really easy for you.
Yes. Teaching has been the pipeline to my practice. And so that is a bit unconventional, but that's been my natural marketing tool. I do consider both of you a part of my support too. I mean, listening to your podcast, being a part of the program, again, like I encourage people to reach out to the two of you, the knowledge that you have, and learn, and ask the questions, get started.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here and just sharing your journey. It's so great to connect with you and see where you are. And it's just like, it's so nice seeing you again. I know we always enjoyed seeing you during coaching and stuff like that. So thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
And if you guys want to connect with April, she is on social media, as she had mentioned, Facebook and Instagram. So you can check her out there by her name. On Facebook, it's LMSW at the end. And Startup Nation, we hope that you join us next week. We are doing a special episode to honor the men in private practice, the dads. So this is a fun episode. We are having several dads, men in private practice, just kind of share a little bit about their journey and stuff like that. And we've brought it all together in one episode. So definitely want to check that out for next time.
Yes, April, it was so great to see you. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being here to inspire Startup Nation. It's just great. You're like a breath of fresh air. It's so nice. Yeah. And
good to be here with both of you. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And I just want to take a moment for our Startup Nation superhero shout out for today's episode. This actually comes from Jessica Tapana from SEO Simplified Consulting. And so Jessica actually says, Kate and Katie are amazing. I was a podcast guest and also love listening to their show. They have a great dynamic between the two of them and give practical advice. Best of all, they truly care about their audience. They listen to the needs of private practice owners and are intent on providing the information people are looking for. Well, Jessica, thank you for your feedback. And we certainly hope that Startup Nation feels that way as well. We appreciate your feedback and love hearing from you all about the types of episodes that you want to hear more of. And if there's a particular episode that you haven't heard yet in our 200 and some episodes so far, definitely let us know that as well. We would love to encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review the show. And we will look forward to seeing you all on the next episode. In the meantime, stay inspired.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.